Hello and welcome to a sound advice video overview of the Wharfedale EVO 5.4 floor standing loudspeaker. My name is Ed Selley, I'm one of the independent reviewers for Sound Advice, and it's fallen to me to test the Wharfedale. What is it? It's the largest member, and it is large, well over a metre tall, of the new EVO range of speakers from Wharfedale. Unlike many of the Wharfedale speakers that feature, including on Sound Advice, this is not a retro product. It is styled of the moment and has no nods to the past and looks entirely forward. The big deal is that for £1,400 there's quite a lot of technology going on here. This is an air motion transformer. It's a type of tweeter. More than anything else, it works like a sort of high frequency accordion. The benefits are that it is extremely light but gives you a very large radiating area. It's very unusual to find a device of this nature at this sort of price point, and it's even more unusual to find what's underneath it. This is a 50mm dedicated mid-range driver. So these two units handle treble and then mid-range frequencies, leaving the bass drivers the job of being bass drivers. There's two of them. You can just about see the second one creeping in into the shot there. Combined with the relatively large cabinet, this results in a level of frequency response which is pretty significant. In this room, I've had them comfortably under 40 Hertz. Don't know what that means. What I'm saying is that this produces bass that you feel as much as hear, and at the price point that's relatively unusual. This is helped by a clever bass port built into the base of the cabinet, which vents in 3 different directions, limiting the amount of air escaping in any one direction, meaning that the port is quieter and less energetic, which means that if the speaker is close to a wall, and in some tests I've done here it has been, it doesn't overexcite the boundary that it's placed near to. The cabinet itself is revised. I think it looks nicer than the older generation. It's also impressively solid, again, for a speaker at this sort of price point. There's an old American adage that there is no replacement for displacement. What do we mean by that? Broadly speaking, big speakers do things that small speakers cannot. When I talk in the abstract about bass and things that you can feel, this is not simply a subwoofer with some tweeters attached to the top of it. If you've got large scale music, it sounds big, confident. There's energy all the way down, and what's even cleverer is that this is brilliant when you're listening to an orchestra or high energy dance music, so on and so forth. When you listen to something smaller, this doesn't make the sort of intimate performance sound over large and confused, and that's really quite a clever thing that some significantly more expensive loudspeakers can't do. When you have a pair of them correctly set, you get a soundstage which is big and confident and spacious and fills the room. When that performance doesn't need to fill a room, when it's a single vocalist, for example, or someone playing on a guitar, they aren't given unnecessary scale. They aren't made to sound vast and confused and have lungs the size of phone boxes. What the Wharfedale does very cleverly is introduce a bit of space around the performance itself. You still perceive some of the scale and size of this loudspeaker, but it's not artificially boosting the size of the performance itself. It's really very clever, and it's something that you don't really encounter that often at this sort of price point. There are 1 or 2 caveats. The first is that if you are watching this video and you have a small room, whilst this speaker behaves itself impressively well for a big loudspeaker, it's still a big loudspeaker. If you place them in a very small space, they will overdrive that room and they will sound a bit weird. This is not a fault of the Wharfedale. This is how big speakers work in small spaces. So that's less of a black mark against the EVO 5.4 and a simple explanation of how physics works. More specific to how the Wharfedale works is if I am being at my most critical, when I have listened to music which is boisterous and energetic and really just I want to have fun and nod my head and move around like an idiot, there's perhaps the faintest sense of restraint. This speaker doesn't necessarily want to let its hair down in the way that some other speakers available that don't have some of the same attributes that the Wharfedale does are better at doing at this sort of price point. With a bit of sensitive equipment matching, you can alleviate some of this, but it's probably fair to say that it's not the most exciting loudspeaker you can buy for £1,400. When everything else is taken into account though, it's very hard to argue that this is phenomenal value for money. It's beautifully made, it's beautifully finished, it has bespoke drivers handling the frequency response in a way which generally speaking you don't see outside of much more expensive designs. This is a superb product. It's one that we are awarding an exceptional badge to because it is exceptional. And if you have the space for a speaker of this size and you are shopping for a speaker at this price point, you absolutely need to check the Wharfedale out because it is a phenomenal product. If you've enjoyed this short ramble through what the Wharfedale is and does, thank you very much. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. There will be more content, and we'll see you again next time. Thank you very much.